Hello.
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 Let's go!
Hey, kids.
Hey, Dad.
War crimes will be prosecuted.
Let's head out of Liberty City. Burn it to the ground.
Does the word mean anything to you?
Yeah, I chose this profession, so therefore I earned beer.
You want to go to the matinee?
The feeling is definitely there.
You don't know my name!
It's a new morning in America.
This is the old dude, Howard J. Reynolds.
Step into my office.
Not going to be too many punks.
Don't you stop worrying about the punk?
You. That's my name.
Yeah, let's go to the punk rock show.
Introducing, for your listening pleasure,
Here we go, episode 50, High Fives Podcast. Michael,
Hi, Nathan.
how are you?
I'm doing fine.
Episode 50.
I feel
50.
50 is a lot.
50.
We can probably throw away the first 6, though, right?
Are
7?
they up anywhere?
They're up on the site, but I don't even know if they're on iTunes. I think I just left them up on our site if somebody really wants to go to the back catalog.
I think for the first 5 episodes, we were just running off of one microphone.
Yeah.
And you were like, no, they're both working. I don't think they are.
Oh, well.
We've learned a lot
Yeah, we have.
in 50 episodes.
I'm just impressed you still want to hang out with me.
I'm impressed too.
Yeah.
Who would have ever seen that coming?
Wow. Did we do anything special for being 50? You didn't bring a cake for me?
I didn't bring anything. No.
I thought
I brought myself. Did you bring anything? Cue the crickets.
No. No, sir, I didn't.
So after 50,
Here, you can have this pen.
I don't know what to do with a pen.
All right.
What does a pen do?
Nothing.
No.
I gave you a root beer.
What do you need a pen for? You type your notes.
I make notes as we're talking here.
Oh.
This is just
You log, like we're recording the dialogue. You don't have to take minutes. It's not a meeting.
If we're not going to run this the right way, why are we even doing
You've been
this?
wasting so much time, Mike. Okay, so episode 50. This list comes to us via Julie. So shout out Julie. Top 5 albums that got you into punk rock. And I can't believe we didn't do this episode ever.
Yeah,
But I think 50 is a good mark for it.
I was going to say I'm glad we did because this worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is perfect. It couldn't be more perfect.
It would have been perfect if you brought me a cake, but you didn't. But we've established that.
I feel like this topic's going to cross over for a lot of people, but at the same time, like, who fucking cares? Cause I think there will be like 1 or 2 from everybody's list that's different, that they came from a different vein of all the bands that were kind of collectively listened to at the same time that we were all getting into this kind of music.
Yeah, I think, obviously you and me will probably have something similar and I'm assuming anyone in our age range will.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see if we have any younger listeners where theirs comes in.
Yeah.
And older listeners too. But the older ones I'm going to guess are going to be pretty easy to figure out. If you're older than if you're getting it from the 70s, I'm going to guess what you figured out.
Yeah. I figured this was a pretty easy list to put together because it was really obvious who those bands were. Was that the same for you? Or did you have to dig back into the files and clear the cobwebs?
No, not really. I kind of had an idea where I was going to go. And then there was some minor cuts here or there.
Just minor. No, this wasn't a top 100.
No, I had a pretty good idea where I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Where I was going to land.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's start with what we've been listening to.
I'd like to hear what you've been listening to.
We don't want to stray too far from from what the expectation is, We've talked a lot about it on the WhatsApp, the new Good Riddance, Thoughts and Prayers. It's a great album. and kind of blew my socks off a little bit. Cause I just haven't like come to expect that necessarily from Good Riddance. Like I feel like Good Riddance, they're often like a good song band, you know, like for every album, there's like a couple of good songs on each album, but this is like a good album, like front to back. There's nothing like super standout, but like I just really enjoy listening to the whole album front to back.
Yeah, I would say that too. And I know we discussed in the WhatsApp chat, but like for me, after Operation Phoenix, Good Riddance just started putting out albums with good songs.
Yeah.
And if I heard a song, I'd be like, oh, that was great. But I never wanted to listen to the album and I'd never go back.
Totally.
This feels fresh, even though it still sounds like Good Riddance. Like, I don't know how
Totally.
like it feels like they finally took a different direction, but it wasn't like a giant leap or anything like that. It just feels like they got out of the mundane Good Riddance thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's different for sure. And I think like,
but it's not even really different. I don't know what it is. It's something, maybe it's a recording even.
Yeah, that's for sure part of it.
It just sounds like a new Good Riddance album, where the other ones just sounded like, oh, Good Riddance put an album out. And it's not a knock on Good Riddance.
Right.
But
yeah. Anyways, I'm super stoked on it. I've been like listening to it fairly steadily over the last little bit. I've also been listening to a band called Waco. Have you heard of them?
Waco.
Not from Texas.
No.
Believe it or not. They're from London in the UK.
Is their album cover just Waco on like just the font Waco and then like a blackish kind of cover or something?
I don't think so.
Okay,
They've got 3 EPs. I think their first full length comes out like this fall or winter sometime. But yeah, so far just like 3 EPs, kind of like of that ordcore vein, I would say.
Cool.
But they're a self-proclaimed cosmic punk. You ever heard of cosmic punk, Mike?
I haven't heard cosmic punk yet. Really? I'll add it to my list.
So cosmic punk, as described by them, is psychedelia, prog, space, conspiracy theories, supernatural, and esoteric teachings. So like, full disclosure, had I read that, I would have never even listened to any of this.
Yeah, if you told me that, I'd be like,
well, I just did.
Get back on your fish wagon.
Anybody got any snake oil? Anybody? But it's very like melodic rock songs. Yeah, I dig it. So I encourage you to have a listen.
I will.
And then there's this other band that I recently heard called They're There, as in like, they're there, Mike.
They're there.
They're there. Which is a horrible, I thought it was a great name. And then I started trying to look them up, and there's like a lot of like dance pop stuff by like a group called They're There. And there's like a New York City Radiohead tribute album or tribute band called They're There. And it's just, there's a lot of crossover.
And then there's the Kinsella one that I thought you were talking about when you mentioned to me.
There.
Yeah.
We spell it differently. This is just THERE.
Yeah.
Twice. That's it. They're there. But do you find this with like artists now, like especially like newer ones that maybe don't have a full length, that just have like a handful of singles or a couple of EPs, like where bands just like don't even put out a bio anymore? Like I find it harder and harder to even like find a bio. Like you go to Bandcamp and there's no actual bio. It's just discography and merch and maybe a website.
So one thing I learned submitting stuff to iTunes and Spotify is you don't really get to do that.
Oh, okay.
I think you have to hit some sort of certain level when they start asking for that kind of stuff.
Okay.
When I was submitting stuff, I was only allowed to put the track listings.
Right.
A vague genre.
Yeah.
So I couldn't even put like punk. I had to put like alternative or something like that. And the cover art. So that you weren't allowed to write like even like.
But even past that, like, I mean,
so you don't get
like
that in iTunes or
so, on, like it's not on their Facebook page. It's not on like even their web page. There's no like about.
Yeah. I think a lot of that's gone because people are now don't search for music that way.
Yeah.
A lot of people are just like, I'm searching in Spotify or Apple. So they're like, why am I wasting my time?
But unless there's like an article been written about this band, like there's no way of really finding out about them at all.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't like it all.
The band.
That's a huge pet peeve of mine because I'm
sucks.
like, I would like to know like, even
where they're from is even a challenge sometimes.
Yeah.
So anyways, this band is one of those bands where it was impossible to find anything about them. They're there. 3 singles out. They all came out in 2019. So I'm anticipating maybe a full length this year or next. Kind of like a modern baseball vibe with like a older Red City Radio finish to it. Like is kind of what I heard. It like kind of reminding me a little bit of like Iron Chic and like the big gang vocal kind of like call and response to the lead vocal. But yeah, I like it. It's something I'm hoping they're doing something. I assume they were Canadian because they have a song called Old Montreal, but I could be wrong. Maybe they just like Old Montreal.
I feel like Old Montreal could be like a cool hipster thing to say.
Could be.
Yeah.
You would know better than me.
I'm the farthest thing from hipster.
But your mustache is coming in again. So it threw me off. That's all I've been listening to. Michael?
I thought you were going to say that's all I've been looking at.
Well, that's true too. But I saved some things for the back half.
Oh, all right.
Like side B has to have something to talk about. Let's give them to something to talk about.
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. What have I been listening to? The Good Riddance, but you already covered that.
I did. You want to talk about it again? You good?
I think we talked about it enough in the WhatsApp chat to ever talk about Good Riddance again. This is going to be strung out version 2.0.
2.0.
Yeah. The Menzinger song, which I know you haven't checked out because of your I'm not checking out singles.
I
there.
heard it.
Oh,
I did.
You cheated.
It. No, I didn't cheat. It's just with Spotify now and that playlist you shared, the best in new best. What is it?
Best in New Punk, I think it's called.
Yeah, it's updated weekly. Yep. Really good list. I really enjoy it. But it turned up on that a couple times. So I like it. It's a good song. I'm eager to hear the rest of it. This is the problem, like for me, is that it doesn't have any context for me. So I just relate it to the last album.
That's fair.
And I have nothing, like no context for this new album. And I don't lump it in with that. I lump it in with what I already know.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming this album is going to be really good because the song is good.
Are.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Yeah. Another band is called Small Crush.
No.
And they just put out a self-titled on Asian Man. If you recall back when I mentioned the term cuddlecore at one point.
How could I forget?
I feel like this band is cuddlecore.
Oh, yeah?
I mean, they don't call themselves cuddlecore, but if I had to define cuddlecore in my head,
this would be it.
It'd be cuddlecore. It's just kind of like cutesy indie rock, and it's rad.
Cool.
Another band, and I'm going to guess you're going to know why I searched this band out, is called Frank Grimes and the Disasters.
Oh, yeah. Simpsons reference.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They kind of have, like, again, that orgcore kind of sound to them.
Yeah.
But to me, they have a lot of hints of Elkland Trio.
Okay.
So I think you would actually like them a lot.
Is it just the name? Like, do they associate any of their songs with Frank Grimes?
No, unfortunately not.
How many episodes was he in? Just one?
Just the one episode.
Really? Like you can confirm that 100%?
I'm like 99.9%. Like up until like season like 19, he's only definitely in one.
Wow.
So
it's kind of amazing, right? Like when you think about like one-off characters from like there's no other show that like one-off characters are remembered.
Seinfeld.
I feel like
Soup Nazi.
He was in more than one.
No.
Yeah, he was in the finale too.
Oh, yeah. The finale doesn't count. The finale doesn't count because they brought all those one-offs back for the finale. Semantics.
Samantha.
But I think you should check it out because I think that's what Grammy would have liked.
Okay. What Grammy? I think you said Grammy at first.
No, Grammy.
And I'm like, we don't share a grandma, Mike. And we don't call her Grammy.
If you get that Simpsons reference, we can be friends.
Yeah.
Last one was the Lost Love little EP they put out.
Oh, yeah.
With it's called Glenn Spaghetti Legs.
I did listen to that.
I liked them. There were two songs that were just left over, I think, from the last recording.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it too.
The album art's funny.
Yeah.
Making fun of Danzig's always like a thing of mine.
I thought you'd like that.
Yeah. Well, he's so easy to make fun of. Right. It's funny. I don't think I would love and hate somebody so much as I love Danzig.
And hate.
Yeah. Because he's like such a joke, but I like him. But I like making fun of him. I guess I do that with Kiss too. I love making fun of Kiss and I like Kiss. But so they're on the same wavelength though of like so ridiculous.
Right. It's just
And like,
it's above and beyond.
I shouldn't like them because they're so ridiculous, but at the same time, I'm like, man, I really like that.
Yeah.
But I have no problems making fun of them. I'm sure that's how you feel about hanging out with me.
I mean, not exactly, but
Same.
yeah, same but different.
Yeah. And that's about it. Other than that, I guess I had been working on putting a bunch of like old stuff that we had put out.
Yeah.
It was on Spotify and Apple and iTunes and get it digitized.
Yeah.
So I've been listening to that kind of stuff. It's kind of just more of a nostalgia train for me. So
been enjoying that.
Yeah, it's fun. It's kind of hard to go through it all and listen to it and put it all out there, but it's fun.
Cool.
All right, Nate. I'm curious to see where you got into punk rock.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, like we would have met around the same time, right? Like maybe a year after, something like that.
So I feel like our group of friends were into punk rock before me.
Okay.
Like I would say you guys were a major influence on me finding punk rock.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Who knew?
I did.
You did. And you're telling us all right now. Yeah, it's weird. Like I think back to that time and like I was having this conversation the other night and thinking about like how it was at that time you were like, oh, it's so lame to be growing up when, in the time that we're growing up. Like I always thought it'd be way cooler to like grow up when punk rock first came around and like be like part of that punk rock movement from when it like first hit the ground. And like now that we're, older and kind of looking back on that time, like there's really like no better time for the music that I think we listen to and like just the progression of kind of where it went and where it is now. Like I look back on and kind of grateful for coming up in that time.
Yeah. I often wonder if everyone thinks that though.
Yeah.
About
their own generation,
about everything. Because like, I think like, in Dazed and Confused, I think there's a scene where they're talking about the 70s and they're like, oh, the 60s are so cool. The 70s suck. The 80s are going to be way cooler.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's like every generation. When you're a teenager, when you're stuck in that awkward time of your life, you're like, oh, the people that did this before were way cooler. And like,
yeah. But I think there's a certain point where like you have to be a certain age to really appreciate it for what it is at the time, right? Like if you were in your like mid 20s and kind of experiencing that punk rock revival, it probably doesn't mean the same thing.
Oh,
or
for
like,
sure.
If you were like 8 years old when Kurt Cobain died, it doesn't hold the same wait for you when you're in your late 30s as it does for.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. My argument is that every generation has their things at that age for them.
Right.
So like ours would be like things like Kurt Cobain. Like everyone's going to know the importance of Kurt Cobain like forever and that happening, but to us it was like really real at that time.
Yeah.
But you can't explain how that felt to like a 10-year-old now.
Exactly. And that's what I mean.
But that 10-year-old is going to have something that happens in their pop culture lexicon that happens that maybe we won't even understand in the same way that we won't feel it in the same way they did. Like, I mean, you can talk about the Beatles in that way, right? Like we like the Beatles and we know the Beatles or whatever, but we don't know what it was like to have the Beatles be everything or Elvis be everything, right? Or like,
but I guess what I'm saying,
or the Beastie Boys be everything, even the Beastie Boys or something like that. Like we don't know what that is. So I think every generation has it. And I agree with for this kind of punk rock.
Yeah.
We were just lucky that it all came in at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of,
but I mean, like I would say that kids in the 2000s probably thought like Taking Back Sunday and Thrice and My Chemical Romance and all that stuff was like a huge deal. And Jimmy Eat World and Dashboard Confessional. And to them, that's probably like that emo world is like so important to them.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Yeah. So the first band I picked was, I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid off into 1994. And this is like the band that like, I mean, arguably in all the documentaries that have been made, they were the ones that, hit the gas pedal for punk rock's revival. And it was Green Day and it was Dookie. And, like it was, I think again, like from that time, we all, I don't know about we all, I can't speak for everybody, but there was that judgment around that, shortly after Dookie came out and they got the big record deal and all that all the bands started getting the record deals, and it was like, oh, Green Day's a bunch of sellouts and stuff like that. And it tainted it so much for me that I could never really go back to Green Day. And like, I mean, along that same vein, I always felt like the singles weren't as explosive as like the singles from Dookie, like Basket Case, Longview, When I Come Around, like those were instant for me. But like nothing that they did kind of after that had that same pop or that same effect as like the singles from that record.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So like it was just a band that I really like never came back to. Like I didn't explore them past that album really. You know, like I mean, sure,
I think you should now.
Yeah,
like I
maybe
think now if you went, because I mean obviously I had the same sort of experience with that.
Yeah,
and I would say now when I listen to stuff after, I'm like, oh, this is way better than I thought it was. Like I just assumed it was like they were sellouts and stuff. They played Woodstock and all this stuff. But see, the weird thing for Green Day for me, and I'm glad you brought it up because I was going to bring it up later, is like, yeah, that album, my God, right away. And I was so into it and stuff. But because I didn't really know what punk rock was, I just lumped that in with alternative music.
Right.
And I lumped that in with like Weezer and things like that going on at the time. And I was like, this is great. I love it. I love this album. Like, but I didn't know it was punk.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I mean,
now it makes sense. I'm just like, well, of course it was. And it's like, so important.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's the bigger thing, right? Is that it's super like love it or hate it, you know, whether you've gotten over the whole sellout phase of it all or not, like it's so important to the what the music what punk rock became and the trajectory of that music. Just like The Offspring was, right? Like The Offspring's like a band that like, again, another band that I couldn't really, that sellout taint was just like so ingrained into me. And so it was hard to come back to, but you know, another band that's like super important to the genre and, you know, the trajectory of that genre. Yeah. So anyways, I picked Green Day, the album's Dookie. And I really like Basket Case is the one that sticks out always to me. But I went back and like listened to this whole record and there was one other one that stood out, which is like kind of a deep cut because I don't think it got much notice. Sassafras Roots.
Oh yeah, they got no. I mean, I think that whole album just front to back is excellent. Like I think it's a perfect album.
But I think like those 3 singles were so standout. Like I was
always big on She was my money
song.
On that one.
Yeah.
So. But I mean, everything. I love that album. I still listen to Dookie all the time.
It's a good album.
Yeah.
Great album. Staying power.
Yep. It does sound fresh, actually, which is really weird for an album that old and that like pigeonholed.
Totally.
It still sounds like when those songs come on, I'm just like, this is great. Like, I don't know and I don't think it's nostalgia.
No, I think they're just great songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to you.
All right. Mine's a little bit different.
Okay.
Because I think we have a different trajectory.
I like that.
So the first band I picked was The Clash.
Of course.
Because they're my band.
Because.
So my story with The Clash is that like my uncle who I've talked about a little bit on the podcast before is like a major influence on music for me. And he used to like I'd go raid his CDs and his records and his tapes when he wasn't around. And he had a Clash poster or something. So I was always curious about who the Clash were. Like he had the Clash on Broadway box set, and it was bigger than all the other CDs on his shelf. So I always looked at him like, I gotta check that band out. But I could never like figure out. I never stole the Clash album. And the first time I stole one, it was like from him. It was like I grabbed Crowded House by accident. Because I confused Crowded House with the Clash. I don't know why. I think they had a similar aesthetic, you know, like on T-shirts and stuff at the time or something.
So does Crowded House still have like a special?
No, I don't like. I don't think I really liked Crowded House that much. Anyway, but I was like, oh, okay. But the next time I went back, I took the Clash on Broadway. Like I think he went out of town for something, and I took the Clash on Broadway box set. And was it on album or a CD? I can't remember. It was either a record or a CD. And it was just awesome. I was like, this is awesome. Like I knew it wasn't metal and I knew it wasn't like alternative and I knew it wasn't like I'd been listening to rap a little bit. Like it was just different. It was like edgy and like raw and I just loved it. So
yeah,
I ended up getting either him to make me a tape or I bought the tape of the first Clash album. And it's probably in my album rotation, like on a regular basis still. So I went with the first track, Janie Jones.
So why are you alone wasting your time? When you could be with me wasting your time. Well, I'm always like you, with nothing else to do. May I waste your time too? Holding it out, regrets wasting your time. Smoking cigarettes, wasting your time. I'm just out there inside, wasting your time. I'm lying myself to wasting your time. Well, I'm always like you, with nothing else to do. May I waste your time too? So why are you alone wasting your time? When you could be with me wasting your time. Well, I'm always like you, with nothing else to do. May I waste your time too? 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 In love with rock and roll, whoa. In love with getting strong, whoa. In love with Jenny Jones, whoa. You don't like it, foreign girl now. In love with rock and roll, whoa. In love with getting strong, whoa. In love with Jenny Jones, whoa. He don't like it, foreign girl now. And he knows what he got to do. He knows he's gonna have fun with you. You're lucky lady. And he knows when the evening comes, when his job is done, he'll be over in his car for you. He's in love with rock and roll, whoa. He's in love with getting strong, whoa. He's in love with Jenny Jones, whoa. He don't like it for a job now. In the inside, lots of work, but the boss at the firm always thinks he should. But he feels like everyone, he got a phone call, Tina. They just won't run without fuel. Better up, Tiago. He's in love with rock and roll, whoa. He's in love with getting strong, whoa. He's in love with Jenny Jones, whoa. He don't like it for a job now. And the invoice don't quite fit. No spray over in his alphabetical bow. Sent for the government man. That's just gonna really tell the boss. He's gonna really let him know exactly how he feels. It's pretty bad. He's in love with a rock and roll, whoa. He's in love with getting strong, whoa. He's in love with Jenny Jones, whoa. He don't like it for a job. No! 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 Let them know! Let them know!
So keeping with like the Bay Area kind of geography, I guess, my next band is Operation Ivy.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Because I was one of those bands that like came in early, and I was just like, they were just so different from everything else that we were listening to at that time. Like, you know, Green Day was like this polished band coming out of, and I didn't even know they were coming out of the same place, let alone playing the same venues like Gilman Street, you know, that this was also, you know, pre-internet, right? So it wasn't like you were getting any of this information anywhere, right? And there were no documentaries being done about any of that stuff at that time.
So my question is, how did you discover Operation Ivy?
It was through like just somebody at school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody had like a tape And it was one of those like, hey, have you heard this? And throw it in the Walkman. And it was just like, this is so different.
Like I didn't hear Operation Ivy until high school with you guys. Like I would have never even heard the name.
Yeah.
I'd never seen the logos or anything. Like they were total, like when I first heard them from you guys, it was like awesome. Like, and it would have been like later on even hearing them from you guys, like not right out of the gates, even hanging out with you guys.
Yeah.
It would have been like later on.
Yeah. Like I think it was early high school that I first heard them. But I mean, that was kind of that bridging time was like late junior high, early high school. Like that it all kind of happened. Right.
Yeah.
And it was like, I don't know what it was like for you, but for me, it was like wanting that, listening to alternative music mostly at that time. And then just like hearing this like much faster, aggressive, like more just in your face and like energetic music.
Oh, that's
like
what
it was like pulling all that really good stuff from the alternative music we were listening to and like just creating a brand new thing with it all.
Yeah. And plus alternative at that time was already starting to become stagnant.
Totally.
Like it was already, the radio had already like grasped onto it and like done its thing with it. And there was already like knockoff bands and like it was losing its luster and it was becoming so produced, so like anything from like grunge era was starting to sound produced, even the bands that were still around and doing stuff, and like same with metal for me at that time. So like you said, when I started getting into this punk with you guys, I was like, I love how aggressive this is, and I like how crazy it is, and like I like that their lyrics mean something. It's not just about girls all the time, and it's not just about like partying. It's like stuff I should really look into.
Yeah.
So
talking about politics and talking about looking at the world in general, and Operation Ivy was just, it was like that next level, like really quick, like it opened that door to ska that I had never heard of before. Like never heard of two-tone. I mean, obviously I'd heard of reggae and stuff before, but not that ska music and that whole vibe, which, later led to like bands like Rancid and things like that, and not really even knowing that until
that connection.
Until hearing Rancid down the line and being like, oh, these sound familiar. Cause I mean, it's weird. You take it for granted now. You can learn so much just by absorbing all the information that's coming in around you from all the different ways that we collect information now. But like then it was like, where do you even research that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And just like with all the documentaries coming out now too, like, did you watch that Turn It Around documentary? That's all about like the
I haven't watched that one yet.
Gilman Street.
No, I haven't watched that one yet.
It's really good. And, I think there was like some mysticism around Op Ivy too, because they were such a short-lived band that just had so much like love and appreciation around them.
Yeah, the stuff in the Lookout book about Op Ivy is pretty interesting because they're just like, they blew up and then disappeared so quick.
Yeah, it's crazy like how that scene contributed so much, but was like such a really like small area, and really like it was kind of a small amount of time too, right?
Yeah. That's what I like, going back to that small Crush band.
Yeah.
They're part of the Gilman Street thing.
Oh, cool.
So there's a whole bunch of bands doing this whole thing in Gilman Street again.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of cool. So I've been looking I'm just kind of seeing who's playing with them and like trying to check them out and stuff like that. Just being like, oh, it's cool. Cause like there's gotta be cool stuff coming out of there.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Nice. Operation Ivy, Energy, and the song I picked was Bad Town.
Nice.
Because I think like when I first heard that one, I was like, you can have saxophones in this music?
Saxophone.
And as we both know, I really like a saxophone.
You're a sax man.
Yeah.
So this works out well because the band I picked was Rancid.
Oh, excellent.
And I went off with Let's Go.
Excellent.
Because
excellent choice.
Again, this is before I think I even knew what punk was.
Yeah.
Like I got Let's Go for Christmas. And again, my uncle was like, yeah, this band is like the closest thing to the Clash in years. You'd probably like it. So I looked at it and I looked at the back and the photo on the back. I was like, this is ridiculous. These guys look like idiots. Like this is some sort of caricature of like punk rock, like the villains in like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, I'm going to go listen to my Metallica album.
Right.
And then
because the long hair and the tight jeans, that didn't seem like a caricature of anything.
Anyway, but I put it in, and the first time I listened to it, I didn't really get it. I was like, yeah, I can see how the Clash sing, but the Clash does it better.
Right.
And then like I started listening to it again and again, and I was like, man, this is really good. So I started putting them on mixtapes, like just to get like into it. And like after a while, it's like kind of like spicy food. Like you just start craving it.
Right.
So that's it.
I like that.
Yeah.
It's kind of like spicy food.
Well, okay. Like, so I'm not a guy who liked spicy food growing up.
Yeah.
But once you get into spicy food,
Yeah.
you're just like, if the first bite, you're like, ugh, that wasn't very good. It burns. And then like 10 minutes later, you're like, no, I want another bite. I got to feel that again.
I like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, like Let's Go did that for me. And that's when I first started then being like, oh, I'm going to explore what this punk is. And I think that probably coincides. I don't remember the dates on it, but I think it probably coincides with like starting high school with you guys and meeting you guys.
Yeah, probably.
You probably had a Rancid shirt. And I was like, oh, he's got a Rancid shirt. Isn't that Horace Grant over there? No.
That was like that thing though, right? Like it was like a calling card, right? Like wearing a band shirt.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know, like
definitely
raising the flag, flying the flag.
Yeah.
Cool. What song?
I went with International Cover Up.
Wow. Nice. Also a great song.
I was going to go with Dope Sick Girl because I think that's the first one that I was like really into.
Yeah.
Just because I think the lyrics were easy to sing. But now I don't like Dope Sick Girl that much.
Okay.
So International Cover Up's like much more fun.
Oh, like when you were picking songs, so like I don't want to like go jump the gun.
Yeah.
But like, were you thinking more about like the stuff that was like of the time for you, or are you thinking more about like, you know, the album, but these are songs that stand out for me more now?
Probably of the time, and with a little bit like the Clash one, I could have picked any Clash song. Like there's very few Clash songs I don't like.
Yeah.
And same with Rancid. There's very few, like off those first 3 albums, like I like them, or first 4 probably. I like most of the stuff. So
yeah.
But I went with International Cover Up. I mean, like that would have been on a lot of the mixtapes I put on. Probably Radio I would have put on a lot, and Sidekick.
Yeah. Nice.
So
cool. Operation Ivy, Bad Town, and
Rancid, International Cover Up.
Down here the kids grow faster, scared. It's killing a bone. Pack of wolves that don't run alone. One on one, they won't look me in the eye, but when the pack's together, it's a battle cry. I saw it, 50 on 1. The crowd dispersed, the kid was done. No, no more, no bad town, no more bad town. No, no more, no bad town, no more bad town. Yeah. Down there you gotta have a label, just like a cattle stable. Knee-jerk reaction, I call violence. Why speak out when you be silent? Down there, out on the dance floor, too much violence, I don't want more. Down there, out on the streets, I can see the air, I can see the heat. No, no more, no bad town, no more bad town. No, no more, no bad town, no more bad town. No more bad town. Rise up, show up, lock tail, cover up, international cover up. Back down, big tail, cover up. Rise up, show up, lock tail, cover up, international cover up. What about the state of the union? What about the gays of the union? What about the kids all matter? What about the terror strike? You don't know what it is like. What it's like, what it's like. Back down, cover up. Rise up,
This is another band that was introduced to me via cassette. And the band is Screeching Weasel.
Oh.
And I had no idea until today that this album came out in 1988. Like, I thought this was not much later, but like 88 seemed like really old back then, right? But Boogada 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 is the album. Arguably not one of their best albums. But again, like this was like a 26 song record.
Yeah.
Like just ridiculous amount of songs. Mind you, they're all like a minute and a half. So I guess, to have a 26-minute record, you got to have 26 songs. But like this was that band that like kind of spoke more to like the aesthetic of what I thought punk rock really was, like that garage sound, that kind of DIY sound. Cause like really like Rancid, it sounded pretty polished for the time, right? Like, I mean,
Rancid was definitely polished. I mean,
yeah.
That's probably why I could pick it up at like HMV, and it was like that's probably one of the reasons it was on. I don't think it was actually. Well, maybe they were on the radio. Maybe Salvation was on the radio.
Oh, for sure it was.
It was.
Yeah.
See, I was never a radio guy.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, hearing that music or seeing that music video, that was like.
See, I don't think I remember the music video. I just know the only reason I know Salvation is because once we did an interview with like Fast Forward or something, and Justin brought up how Salvation, it was supposed to be an interview about all of us and the record label. Justin
him.
was like, it was basically about Justin listening to Salvation on the radio.
But yeah, like, and Green Day was so polished, right? Like, I think like when that music was first coming out, like we weren't hearing the back files, the kind of DIY, aesthetic that it all grew from.
Yeah.
Right. And so this was that. It was like, oh, okay, so this is where a lot of this comes from. Right. And it had like that beat up garage sound. It had that snotty punk rock kind of vibe to it, and like the songs that they were writing also had like kind of those political nuances, mixed in with it. And then songs like I Hate Led Zeppelin, which was, just to like piss everybody off.
Did you find that when I first started getting into punk rock, I was like, I'd look at titles like that and I'd be like, I like this. Look how funny they are. They're making fun of shit.
Yeah. It wasn't even like them being funny. It was, to me, it said more like, to the metal kids that were kind of like coming across to punk rock, like, fuck you. Like not necessarily.
No, you've drawn your line there.
But you know what I mean, right? Like,
I know.
It was very much like, this is our own thing.
Like, I kind of remember when you played me, it was probably, I'm guessing it was you played, or Justin that played that, the Guttermouth song with the Kiss Smart Me thing.
Oh,
I was just like, I'm going to like the song just because it's hilarious and it's making fun of Kiss.
So yeah, this was it. This was that band that showed me that there was like kind of punk rock before it became mainstream, I guess.
4994.
Yeah, exactly. So the song that I chose is My Right.
Cool.
To you?
To me, the third one, in full disclosure, I only bought this album because I saw the word punk in it.
Excellent.
It was like super cheap. And I had just started hanging out with you guys, and I was like, oh, I kind of like what these guys are listening to. And like, you guys had kind of like, we'd driven around or like talked about stuff, and I'd heard the names like NoFX and Bad Religion. And like the Fat Bands Face to Face and whatnot. And so I went to HMV and I was like looking, I'm like, oh, they have a punk section. And then I looked at the comp section, and then I saw Punkorama. And I was like, okay, it says punk, it's cheap. And I've heard of these band names.
Yeah.
And then I saw Offspring was on there.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'll do it. I'm like, worst case scenario, I like Offspring.
Right.
Again, I had never really associated Offspring with punk at the time. Still, I'd not like I liked Smash when it came out and I really enjoyed it, but I'd never thought of it ever as a punk album until I would have known later on.
Right.
So yeah, I picked it up. And I still like Punkorama. I don't know if it's like good, but it's still like, it's so nostalgic to me that like listening to Punkorama was like such a gateway for me for like all these bands.
Totally. Like the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous fonts and like,
yeah. Yeah.
But I liked, I'm thinking that inside there was like pictures of the bands or something. Yeah, and then I was like looking, I was like, oh, that's cool. And like SNFU was on there. Yeah. And I was like, oh, those guys are from Edmonton? Yeah. That's even cooler.
Yeah.
But I decided I was going to go with the Offspring song, and I went with Session.
Nice.
Cheap Comps. That was the way to get it.
Screeching Weasel, My Right, and
The Offspring Sessions off Punkorama. debated the Bad Religion off there, but I just felt like,
What was that one?
I think it's Do What You Want.
Oh yeah, it's a great song.
Yeah. I feel like Jer Hyde probably made a mixtape and it was just like all those songs and Survival of the Fattest, but like mixed into.
Yeah. Did it come like fast when you started getting into punk rock? Like, was it like, kind of, I'll grab this album or I'll grab that, but were you buying like a lot of records all at once?
Well, I didn't have a ton of money at that time.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
And I was still hinging with my other stuff. Like I was still buying metal and like rap and stuff and alternative stuff.
Right.
But once we started going to like, probably by like the middle of grade, after Christmas, I think I got like White Trash, Two Heaves and a Veen for Christmas.
Okay.
And I got like I'd put a bunch of those on the list and I got like 4 or 5 albums, like maybe like a Face to Face album and maybe Survival of the Fattest. And then I just started buying stuff. Like I remember going to H&V and Megatunes a lot.
Yeah.
Like we used to go to Megatunes a lot.
Yeah.
And then I started talking to
Payday.
Yeah. And then I started talking to Brock and Brock started like getting me like way more into stuff.
Yeah. I feel like it came fast for me and not necessarily like in the buying, but like at the very least, like
consuming?
Exchanging tapes and
consuming.
consuming.
We'd be exchanging tapes a lot at school or talking about bands enough to like, want to hear about them and stuff like that.
Yeah. Like I feel like it was really quick, it just kind of took over. Like it wasn't like, listening.
I would say by the end of grade 10, I wasn't listening to like Ozzy or Metallica anymore.
Yeah. Well, because it also became one of those things.
Or maybe I was. That's a lie.
I think for most of us, like I think you were unique in that way that you really like hung on to all the stuff that you listened to.
Yeah.
But I think like for most of like our friend
you guys
group,
made fun of me a lot. So
well, I mean, we did because at that time it just felt like you had to like this music and that was it. You weren't allowed to like anything else, right? So I mean, big ups to you for being a grown up through and through. We were just like shitty kids the whole time.
I was a stubborn asshole from the start.
But we knew we were going to cross over at some point.
Yeah.
And we did cross over. Because I picked Rancid as well.
Oh.
And I picked Let's Go as well.
Oh.
Because
I knew you were gonna pick Rancid and I figured you were gonna pick Out Come the Wolves.
No, because that came later. That first record that I heard was Let's Go. And then, I went back and got the self-titled like probably a year later, or maybe it wasn't even until An Out Come the Wolves came out that I heard it. But no, Let's Go. And it's funny because you had that same like, seeing the back cover, had a completely different effect on you than it did for me. Like to me, it was like, there was like this sense of like, not like danger, but like there was this like.
But they look so ridiculous.
I didn't think it was ridiculous though. I thought it was like, it was costumed in a sense, but like it just felt like, I don't know, it was like so intriguing. I was so just curious about it, seeing like, these guys with these big mohawks and, painted fingernails and all that kind of stuff. Right.
Yeah.
So it was much more intriguing, I think, to me than comical,
That's fair
from your perspective. And I vividly remember seeing that video for Salvation, with like them kind of riding around on BMX bikes in like, the shitty parts of San Francisco. And just once again, kind of being more and more intrigued by the music. Right.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, Let's Go has 23 songs on it, and you and I both picked the same song. I picked International Cover Up as well. Yeah.
So you're going to audible and pick a different song?
I am, because, there's so many good songs.
Oh, yeah.
It still totally stands up. Like that record is, sure, there's a couple that you could toss away, but from front to back, there are so many good songs. And so I'm gonna audible it with Nihilism because I really like that song.
That's a great song.
Yeah, and like a great opener too.
I think that was the first time I heard the word nihilism and like had to look it up.
Yeah, and then I didn't hear it again until I saw the dude in The Big Lebowski, the Nihilists. We are nihilist, Lebowski. Remember? No.
You know what? This is really weird. I'd only seen Big Lebowski once.
Oh wow!
I know, it seems like it'd be like right up my alley. Hey,
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
but anything I assume you like, you don't. So I'm starting to learn this more and more. I think with Rancid too, it was like they kind of like opened that door to like that kind of like like ghetto side of punk.
Like I like that rawness right away.
Yeah.
Like that. Even if it was poppy,
Yeah. But like talking about like
drugs and like,
like Dope Sick Girl and like talking about the Tenderloin. Like, I don't think I figured out what the Tenderloin was till just a couple of years ago, you know, like stuff like that. It was so intriguing because it was so far removed from anything that we knew.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was just like another layer of like this music that we were being introduced to.
Definitely wasn't feeling it in suburban Calgary at that time.
You weren't feeling the Tenderloin?
No, not until like, well, not the Tenderloin, but generally we weren't feeling that until we started going to local shows together and stuff like that. So
Yeah. All right, Mike.
All right. Another one from the old memory vault.
Open it up.
This is a band from Calgary.
Oh.
Chicks Dig It.
Yeah, nice.
And it's off another compilation off Bloodbath at the Chinese Disco.
Also a great comp.
Yeah. And I vividly remember listening to this in Jeff's car driving to shows.
Nice.
And like I hadn't known much about Chicks Dig It. I mean, we've discussed it before, how you guys tricked me that your band was Chicks Dig It.
Yeah.
But this comp I just loved. And it was like my first foray into like local bands. And I was like, oh, wow, like these guys are from here and they're like really making it. They're on Sub Pop and like, that's pretty cool. And the song I went with was Mila Caroline and Me.
Nice.
Because I just always liked that song. And I liked that it was referencing the Maroonies.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was funny to me. Like I was like, oh, they're making fun of the Canadian government. You don't hear a lot of bands making fun of Canada.
Right.
I'm like, this is great. So.
Nice.
And plus, I always thought the name was awesome. I always thought Chicks Dig. I still think Chicks Dig is a great band name.
Really?
And it's a great logo.
Yeah, I never really liked the name. But I love the band.
You don't like Chicks Dig? It's like it's such a hilarious name, and the way it's like got that like I don't know, the font's awesome. Everything's about it.
The font's great.
It's a great shirt. It was a great shirt.
Yeah,
they're a great band.
Yeah, I totally agree. I thought about like what local bands I got into, you know, through when we were coming up into listening to punk rock, but I feel like that was the part that came so much later for me, like going to shows and stuff like that. And maybe it wasn't, it just felt so much later.
See, that's why I'm curious. I feel like you guys discovered these bands in like junior high.
It might have been.
I feel like you guys like in grade 9, because like it was early on in high school when I met you guys. Yeah. And then you guys already like by the time Jeff got a car in like February. So by February we were going to shows. Yeah. In his car, wrecking things, and we were listening to like I remember Jer Hyde made a lot of mixtapes in there. I wasn't allowed my mixtapes in there.
That makes sense.
But Jer had them, and then be like stuff like the Bloodbath, the Chinese Disco was there, and then like I knew he had Field Day on tapes and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And
Field Day, that would have been the local one that would have like that could have made this list, I think, because that was like I think the first local band I ever really heard was Field Day. And Justin was like listening to like the Smalls and stuff like
actually,
that.
I just was looking at my notes here. I'm like the Smalls were on that tape. I remember they had that MTV song. They'd play it so loud in Jeff's car.
Right. Yeah.
But again, the Smalls aren't really, are they punk? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
yes and no. I mean, like that, their vein, like I lump all that stuff into it. So.
There were so few bands like right out of the gates at that time. I mean, at least in our purview. Yeah. I mean, had we been a little older, maybe we would have seen more. Yeah. But I think like the bands that were playing all ages shows were at least like that we were aware of, you know, there weren't a lot of them in the city in the early days. Rancid, Nihilism, and
Chicks Dig It, Mila Caroline and Me.
Drive down on Chum and Palms. White ghettos, paint up and shop. Booking homes and booking bombs. Well, so bullets could not stand up. Bars hitting the shots. I moved to a cup. Release me for more or something. Total rejection, total destruction. Nihilistic feeling. So moving if you try really hard. You see right through them. That is all. That is all. That is all. That is all. Come into the Union District. Drive down on Sherman Palms. White ghettos, paint up and shop. Booking homes and booking bombs. Walking up and for self-destruction. Not affected by repercussion. Dirty on the verbal on the tree. Say right now, I need type of thing. Now let's take feeling. Some moving if I try really hard. I see right through them. Paints a picture, broken homes and broken bones. Yeah, broken bones. Hey, 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 hey. Driving your roads, feel it, baby, let me be your Dr. Schultz. Well, 'cause you know I love you, baby. Feel like Carolina, me going crazy. Feel like Carolina, 44 Sussex Retreat. Feel like Carolina, me and the ladies. Feel like Carolina, keep my GST. 'Cause this one's on me. Me like Carolina, me. Caroline, my little fashion princess. Look back riding with your prince in the south of Wales. Do you remember in your farmhouse, baby? You were milking me, I was filling up those pails. Oh yeah, me like Carolina, me going crazy. Me like Carolina, 44 Sussex and Tree. Me like Carolina, me and the ladies. Me like Carolina, keep my GST. 'Cause this one's on me. Me like Carolina, me.
That's it, Mike. We're done.
I should.
We're over. This is it. This is the last one.
Forever? You're quitting on me?
No, I can't do that. I can't quit on you.
Okay.
I'll never quit on you.
Hopefully listeners don't either.
Yeah. Hopefully.
50
episodes. I think we're just growing stronger, Mike.
You think?
I think so. All the time. We're just picking up steam.
You know
we're
what,
like
Nate?
a train.
It doesn't even matter because I just enjoy hanging out with you.
It's the best part.
It is the best part
Yeah.
because we don't hang out enough anymore.
No.
Getting old sucks because you don't hang out with your friends as much. So you need stuff like this to force you to hang out.
Especially work friends.
We're not really work friends.
I finally got it out of you. After 50 episodes, you've acknowledged me as a friend.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Eh.
So, what has this taught us? Nothing.
More crickets? I hope when you're editing, you have a cricket.
I'll find one. I'll look for one.
But before we get into that last pick, I just want to say thank you all for listening, whether it be through iTunes, our website, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon, however you're listening. Thank you for listening. Thanks for interacting with us. Thanks for checking us on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you very much to everyone in the WhatsApp chat. It's a lot of fun. It does tie in all this stuff going on because we have conversations.
Yeah, it's a behind the scenes, really. If you're looking for more.
If you really want to talk about what the best Good Riddance album is, or what the best Strung Out album is, or why I don't like Sublime,
find
or
another venue.
If Vincent is the best NoFX song, this is the kind of place you want to be. If you're like, well, that's the nerdiest thing I've ever heard, stay away because you don't want to be there. People have a lot of opinions in there.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And it can get edgy, but it's a lot of fun for us.
From time to time.
But yeah, I just really want to say thank you to everyone. And thanks, Nate, for doing this with me for 50 episodes and hopefully a lot more.
It's been a pleasure.
I really enjoy doing this.
Yeah, me too.
And like we were just saying, off mic,
Off air.
It is a good way to consume music and force us in a digital age to go back and look at other, like our old albums and stuff like that. So we hope you guys do that too.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. 50 episodes. It causes it's like a moment of pause. It's a time for reflection, you know?
I forgot to mention, and again, this is no pressure. If you want to support us and you want to buy a t-shirt,
Go to
TeePublic, or if you want to buy a mug or whatever else random things.
Pillowcase.
They have some really random stuff there. I'm like, who's buying flags?
Yeah.
If I had enough money, I would buy you the Nate flag just so you can have it in your house.
It'd be amazing.
But
hang it from my window.
Yeah.
Or over top of my window.
Yeah.
Don't you love the guy that puts a flag in his window?
He's too busy to be bothered with curtains.
He is too busy. Curtains are they are the worst.
But I do hate nagging. So, or mentioning that stuff, but it doesn't it's not a huge donation to us. So don't feel obligated. But if you're into that, it's on TeePublic. It's on our website, and
do it.
Yeah. Nate did it.
If you want. I did it to the tune of ridiculous amounts of money.
That we just lost money on.
Yeah. Well, I certainly lost money. My last pick, and this, I think this was like the first punk CD I bought. I think we've talked about it on one of the episodes before. Cause I mean, really, like in 50 episodes, we've talked about like where punk rock came for us in some way, shape or form, but never like kind of in this concentrated, of a forum. But NoFX Punk in Drublic, I think was the first CD, punk CD I bought. And, I think it was because, like our friend Justin had like the poster in his room or something. Like he was really ahead of the time.
Justin was ahead of it.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Justin and Jer Hyde really got a little claw into that niche. And so I could go to them to see what they wanted.
Well, I think with Jay, like he had a friend that was like a year or two older than us, and like was kind of into.
He doesn't have friends.
He did. He had this one.
No,
just this
made
one.
up.
And so he got some influence in that way. And so yeah, I think that's where I originally saw it. Was just, I don't know if I heard any of it or if it was just like, oh, I've seen this poster, I'm gonna check it out. Again, it was like it says punk on it, you know.
That was a good gateway.
It sure was. Yeah, I wonder how many things of that time had punk written on it.
And then if you saw Epitaph or Fat on it, it was like, oh, I should get it.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean,
or cheap comp, $8.
Exactly.
I'm in.
Anything? Well, I think they were even cheaper than that.
Yeah,
I think they were like $4.99 or something.
I think that was like the American price for it, but I think ours were always like $8.
Right. Because they've always had better money than we have.
They can keep their money.
But yeah, Punk in Drublic was like that. Hearing like again this music in just a different way. Like it was fast, it was aggressive, but then it was funny, and then it was political. Like they kind of encompassed all of it. And then had like, you know, like those different songs like Rico on there, right? Like, which didn't like really fit the mold of the rest of the album, but like was still a great song. And like, you know, opened that, I mean, a lot of bands of that time had like a ska song or a kind of reggae sounding song.
Every band did a ska song.
Yeah, exactly. You had to.
You had to pick it up.
Are you a real band?
Pick it up.
Right. What are we picking up? So yeah, the song I picked though was, this is a deep cut because I didn't want to go with anything too, something that you maybe listened to in the last like week or two that's come up.
Well, funny, I did listen to this whole album like 2 days ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And what was the standout now for you?
Well, I just had, I can't even think of the name of the song now, but How Did the Cat Get So Fat in my head?
Oh yeah.
So I was just singing
Perfect Government.
Perfect Government. Yeah. So I just had that in my head. So I was like,
it's a great song.
Listen to that album.
Yeah. And was that the song that stood out for you then?
Oh, I think I just like the album.
Yeah.
It's a good NoFX album.
It's pretty diverse.
Yeah.
Like
I kind of forgot how diverse it was.
Yeah. The song I picked was just a ridiculous song. Probably a song that you wouldn't necessarily like click to.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Birkenstock.
Yeah. Jeff wears Birkenstocks. Just ridiculous.
I think that might have been the first song I heard on that one. And I feel like somebody put it on a tape just to make fun of our friend Jeff at the time.
Right. Probably.
I feel like Jeff does wear Birkenstocks.
But I feel like that was part of the appeal to punk rock too, is like it didn't take itself too seriously all the time, right? And like every other music I think I'd ever listened to up until that point, especially like alternative music, was like really taking itself really seriously.
Oh, especially like grunge took itself really serious.
Yeah,
especially after, because like the pop rock at the time would have been like hair metal bands.
Totally.
And like the shittiest of hair metal bands. So you would have like, which I'm not going to get into my rant about, but
aren't those synonymous?
Yeah, but like, you're going to get like the Poisons and like
we're not here to talk about Poison.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to get that shit and like Cinderella and like Warrant and stuff like that. And you're like White Snake.
Whitefish is also a very nice dinner choice.
But I meant like that's what. So then like grunge came and it was so serious.
Yeah,
and then punk kind of, that's what I'm saying. Like the humor of like a punk song like Mila Caroline Me or Jeff Wears Birkenstock really appealed to me. Or I Want to Hump You. Like it's like,
what was the anti-rock star? Yeah, right.
Like we didn't touch on that. That really appealed to me of punk. The anti-rock starness of punk appealed to me, which is really funny since like all the bands I'm into were like so. Like even the thrash metal bands, they're still rock stars. They're playing stadiums, and like, and that's what I thought music was.
Right.
And then like these bands were not doing it, and I was like, no, this is way cooler.
Yeah. Well, and like even to the effect of like when we were going to shows, like the community halls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would say most times, like the majority of the times, the bands were playing like on the floor. They weren't up on a stage, and the whole part of that was like, we're all the same.
Exactly.
Kind of a deal, right?
Always that just appealed to me so much.
Yeah. Like I think we saw Propaganda play like that.
No, they played up on the stage.
No, I'm almost positive we saw them play on the floor at Multi.
No, they played on the stage.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we were all dancing because I don't dance. And it's like one of the 10 times in my life I've danced.
One of the 10. Wow. I wish I was there. I wish I remember that.
Yeah. You're probably too cool to hang out with me then.
Probably. All right, to you. Your last pick.
So because of this, I wanted to pick a local band.
Okay.
So
you did.
Yeah, well, I wanted to pick a less popular local band, like a local band, like when we started going to local shows, like at Carpenters and Multicultural Center and Black Lounge and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
So there was a bunch in there. There was like Showdown or Knucklehead or the Everyman or like Rebel Young Republican.
Yeah.
But then I started thinking, I was like, how did I get into this?
Yeah.
And then I was like trying to think about how did I even meet all my friends?
Right.
Because we've been friends for so long now. I'm like, you kind of forget. I'm like, I went to a different school than all of them until high school. Like the people I hung out with in junior high, I didn't really hang out with after.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did this all happen? So I started thinking, I was like, it was gym class and I met Dev.
Okay.
So like, I don't remember what your gym class was like, but I think there was like 4 or 5 like chunks of kids in that, like 4 classes at the same time.
Yeah.
In grade 10 gym class.
It was a couple classes for sure.
And I knew no one.
Right.
Like I was like, there's not a single person from my school here. I vaguely knew Jeremy Barretto because we played hockey together.
Okay.
So I tried to cling to him a little bit. And Jeremy
he wasn't having any of it.
Yeah, but he was sort of friends with you guys. And then I used to wear a KISS shirt as my like shirt in gym class.
Nice.
And I was like, and I had long hair.
That's brave.
I had long hair, pretty long hair. And the gym teacher loved it because he was in a KISS cover band.
Nice.
Which I always thought was still cool. And then Devin came and talked to me like maybe the second day and he liked KISS. Allegedly.
Does anyone really like KISS?
I really like KISS.
I'm just kidding.
But anyway, so Dev and me started talking a lot about, and I was like, oh, he likes like the same sort of thing, like different kind of music. And he like knows about horror movies and he knows about like pop culture stuff that I'm into and comic books and stuff. So Dev and me still really started talking every class. And then Jer Hyde and Jeremy Barretto were also there and they started talking. And slowly I started hanging out with you guys more and more. And I remember one of the days Dev gives me a tape. He's like, there's my band. And I'm like, you're in a band? Like, I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Right.
Like, I didn't know any, I was just like, holy crap, I know somebody in a band.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not that big of a deal. But for me at that time, I was like, that's all I ever wanted to do. Like, you knew me in junior high, even when I was like listening to gangster rap, I was always like, I'm going to start a band. I'm going to be somewhere. And I was like, I finally know people in bands. This is amazing.
Right.
So
that's cool.
I took Dev's tape home and I was like, whoa, this is fucking weird. Because it was Jewel.
Yeah.
And it was, I don't know if I didn't like it. I'll admit I didn't like it.
Sure.
And then I started listening to more and more and I was like, wait a minute, I do like this. It's like, it's so weird and crazy that I like it. And not just because I'm friends with this guy.
Yeah.
So we started going to shows like you guys. And I think, I'm pretty sure I went to go see Jewel for the first time. It was the first local band I saw. And I think I thought it was Showdown 76 and somebody else. And then it would have been shortly after I would have saw a show with you guys. And would have gone to Chicks Dig It and things like that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go with the Jewel song.
Cool.
Yeah. Then I went with one off their tape.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure Dev gave me Jewel versus Dillinger, but the recording quality on Jewel versus Dillinger is so bad.
Right.
So I went with their like second tape, which is the recording has a little bit better. But I wanted to apologize to everybody for the recording quality. It was a bunch of 16-year-olds.
Yeah, fair enough.
But
the DIY, the true DIY.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they actually recorded this with Grant.
Okay.
So it's a little bit better than but it's still DIY.
It's not a ghetto blaster, is what you're saying.
But yeah. Anyway, the song is called Function of the Heart. As best as I can tell, because I didn't have a track. I don't have the track listing anymore. And I looked it up and Calgary Cassette Preservation Society has it up there. And Johnny wrote the track listing, but he was like, I'm just guessing.
Oh.
So I think it's called Function of the Heart.
Okay. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
And no effects. Jeff wears Birkenstocks.
Happy 50th, Nate.
To you too, Mike.
Be cool. Stay excellent to each other.
There it is.
We must be the great arsenal of democracy. For us, this is an emergency as serious as war itself. We have no excuse for defeatism.
That I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got. Well, I'm not a crook.
So
Cool.
that's my story.
It's a good one. I forgot what I picked.
Screeching Weasel.
There it is.
I'm glad after 50 years.
50 years.
Sorry, these episodes feel like a year. I'm aging progressively.
Longest 50 years of my life.
Yeah.
Celebrating my 39th birthday 50 years later.